So the NAR settlement has made its waves. It's in the headlines, and we've talked at length about the implications for us on a professional level. But what kind of conversations are you having with your client? Let's get into it. What's happening? I'm J.C Agajanian, broker associate with the Whissel Realty Group, and today we are talking about the NAR settlement, but not necessarily the details of it and what it means to us, but more importantly, what kind of conversations are you having with your clients surrounding this topic? Surely it's come up from time to time, and there's a bit of a controversial take on this. Some people say, let's not go out of our way to discuss this when it's not even really an objection. We're kind of raising it on our own and then we have to handle it. But on the other hand, you can consider all of the prospects, leads, people that maybe you're not quite working with right now. They're probably also in somebody else's database, and there's a good chance somebody else may or may not be talking about them. So it's important that we address the elephant in the room and diffuse stress and anxiety, establish ourselves as the authority on the subject, and move forward from there. So we're hoping, or I'm hoping, that you are either already or thinking seriously about changing your workflow and making sure that there is a buyer consultation before you go out and start meeting with buyer prospects to help them with homes. This consult really sets the stage, helps, like I said, establish you as the authority, but really allows you to explain how you handle your business, educate them, bring them up to speed on where things are, whether it's just this market now or if they're first timers, how the whole thing works out. And then while you're at it, you can bring this up and make it as small a deal as possible. The idea is to explain the implications, explain that we don't know exactly what's going to happen because this rule doesn't go into effect until later this summer. But from what we know now, this is how it's going to look, and that could change. So basically address it and move on and make sure that they know you know what's going on. But what else can we do surrounding conversations on this NAR settlement? Well, call your pipeline. Call all of them. Like I said, your database is not yours alone. There's a good chance there's plenty of those people where it's somebody else's open house or click through on somebody else's online lead funnel and found themselves in that database as well. So reach out. It's a perfect excuse to call people if you've got leads that are a little bit longer term and you don't really know what to say, except I'm just checking in, which is like the worst thing you could say. Maybe call and say, hey, I'm wondering if you have any comments or questions or concerns about this settlement. I'm here for a resource for you. I know all about it and be happy to weigh in. That's a great reason to call through your database. And don't launch into a diatribe on everything you know about it and what you think is going to happen. Come from curiosity. That's one of the core values in our company, and it's a great way to lead with conversations like this. We don't want to be assuming anything, and we don't want to think that it's a huge deal for them or it's a small deal for them. We just, hey, ask them some questions. What do you know about these headlines that have been in the news? What do you make of them? Who has told you this information? What's your assumption? Start with what they know and what they think, and then go from there. In the end, it's really just an easy conversation starter. You can book appointments off this topic for sure. It's also a great way to expedite some of the buyer timelines that you're working with. If they have concerns about this coming up and they're convinced that whatever happens, they're going to have to fork over a big extra chunk on their closing costs, then we can use that and say, listen, let's not even think about that. Let's just get you into a home before the end of July ever comes and it's not even a concern for you. Use it to your advantage. Think optimistically and positively about this and think about avenues that you can use it to help both your clients and yourself sell more homes by doing this, instead of being afraid of it and thinking it's going to wreck your world and destroy your production for 2024. On that topic, you should always be doing this, but it's even more crucial for a touchy subject like this. Do your best to gauge their DISC personality profile. The best we can match our approach to their personality, the better we're going to do at helping them either move their timeline along or subside their fears and concerns. So really try to do your best to get into the understanding of the way they look at the world. Are they super conscientious? Are they a hard driver? Are they very stable and concerned? Whatever the case may be, you want to match your tone and your actual responses to that to the best of your ability. Now, this conversation might look a little bit different if you're actually talking to a seller, and maybe that seller is like, hey, this is great news for me. I didn't want to have to pay this commission anyways. Now maybe I can cut it in half and just pay you to take care of my property and let some other schmuck pay a buyer's agent to come and bring a buyer along. Well, obviously you and I know that's not the best case scenario for ourselves or even for our seller, because it could very well backfire on them. So if you've got a seller who currently is thinking, hey, I'd rather just not offer anything on the buy side, take the appointment anyways. Do whatever you can to get in front of the seller, especially if they're heavy-handed with it. Get in front of them, explain everything that you do to help sell homes, explain the process, and then if they're still stuck on the I'm not paying a buyer anymore, this rule is going to change in the near future anyways, and I'm going to get ahead of it, just present data. Really the best thing that I've heard that you can do, and we actually know somebody who's gone through this and shared their experience. The idea is to go, okay, not only are these the comps that we're looking at, but this is everything that's sold in your neighborhood over the past 6 months or a year, whatever the case may be. This is going to take a little extra time, but it is well worth the effort. Show up prepared. Explain to them, hey, this is everything in your area that has sold recently, and look at this percentage, 75, 80% offered 2.5 or 2 3/4 or 3%. And then this percentage offered somewhere between 2 and 2.5. And only, 1 or 2 of them over here offered any less. How are those listings doing? This is going to be case by case. You got to look at the data, but there's a good chance if someone's offering 1% or 1.5%, they're probably going to have a longer market time on that listing than the ones that are conducting business as usual. So just demonstrate that for them and say, listen, these home values are based on the fact that a buyer is able to come to the property, have their representation covered, their agent be paid, and them get wise counsel in order to negotiate on this property. If we take that away, it's literally going to change the value of your home. So are you sure you want to take this path? If they're still stuck on it, maybe a good way to go about doing something like that might be an off-market offering. Spread the property out to as many different outlets as possible without putting it on the MLS. Share with your brokers, share with your brokerage, share with your coworkers, see if you can get something going, and just explain to them that not only are we not on the market yet, but we also aren't offering that commission. So we'll see what kind of response we get before we go to market. And that should also help your cause in getting them to do what's right for them, really, which is offer a little cooperation so that they can get the most money for their home. All in all, this topic is not something to be afraid of. It's coming whether we like it or not. And the best thing we can do is get out ahead of it, make those calls, use them as an excuse to get in front of clients or prospects that were maybe long-term nurturers or on the fence or maybe not quite there yet. It's a great reason to get on the phone, take the conversation where you can, and hopefully you can book another appointment out of it. That's all I got for now. I hope you found this helpful and entertaining. And as usual, if you've got any further conversation you'd like to take offline, drop a note right here. I'd be happy to do it.